Okay guys, thank you for finding my channel. I'm going to show you in 10-minute sections how to put this scene together. So let's get stuck in. Thank you for coming back for another 10-minute Unity tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at something called Skyboxes, and we're also going to be looking at how to put some eerie, creepy music on your scene. So, as I said last time round, the skybox is kind of this thing around the outside of the world. It looks like the sky. It's infinitely far away and infinitely big. Look, I can roll back forever and ever and ever and ever, and I will never find the outside of it. Now, it might not look like it, but it is actually a box. It's a cube. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to need to use a couple of assets in order to do this. So if you're one of my students and you're following this tutorial, you can find the Skyboxes assets in the SharePoint. If you're not one of my students, then you can either download some through the Unity Asset Store, or you can probably find half a dozen of these online for free. All I've done is I've dragged this into the Assets folder down here, so I've got my Skyboxes. So you can see this has actually come with some materials already set up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a new Skybox material if you've just got the textures. So for example, there's an overcast day for a texture, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because as I said, the skybox is a box, it's a cube. Okay? If you want to create your own, here's what you do. You go into Assets, Main Assets folder, and we're going to create a material. Now, so far we've been using materials with a standard shader. We're going to change this today, and we're going to get some different options. Instead of using a standard, I'm going to go down to Skybox, and I'm going to use a 6-sided skybox like this. And I'm going to call this skybox down here Starry Night, because, you know, I'm a bit of a Vincent van Gogh fan. Why not? Now, you'll notice this material has got 6 boxes. It's exactly the same as the 6 boxes that we saw over here for the various different evenings. And I'm going to take a look at the eerie box. That's quite cool. Dawn Dusk, maybe. Moonshine, quite possibly. Starry Night. Ah, look, there's one in there called Starry Night. I'm going to use the Starry Night one. In order to use this properly, I need to see the full names of these textures. And if I click on them, this box up here will go. I want to lock this in place so I don't lose it. Because if I click on that, that goes up there. And it's no good to me. So if I just go back to my assets here, and I go back to my Starry Night material that I've created here, and with that in the inspector, if I just click this little lock at the top here, then I can click on other things down here and it won't really matter. They won't go into the inspector. So I can click on these and I can see that this one says Starry Night back. This one says down. Or alternatively, if I just zoom down a little bit here so that they're a list, I can see front, left, right, and so on and so forth. I'm going to drag each one of these into the corresponding section. So front into front here, back into back, left into left, right into right, up into up. You can see it building down here and down into down. Now the final thing, if I've done this and they've all lined up properly, all I have to do is go and find, I'll just zoom back up again so it looks like it did before, go and find my Starry Night material here, this one. I'm just going to unlock my box again here. Go and find my Starry Night material here and just drag it into the night. If I do that now and push play, let's see what happens. Now that's creepy, isn't it? That's taken the creep factor up a whole new level. But let's really twist that dial. Let's take it to the nth degree. I'm going to add some creepy music. I'm just going to turn my light off here so I can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to add some creepy music in there as well. Now I've already downloaded some creepy music. I'm using some royalty-free music here. It's copyright and royalty-free. I'd recommend you do the same. Otherwise, if you try and put footage of your game on YouTube, you might get copyright notice, copyright strikes, or hey, even a takedown notice, and nobody wants that. I'm just going to drag this into my scene here, wait for it to copy in, and I'm going to show you the simplest way to work with audio. So if you're creating a background music, then the easiest thing to do is to attach that background music to something that the player is never going to go out of range of. And in this case, the player is never going to go out of range of the floor. Wherever they are in the game, they're always going to be on this floor, unless they go up at the building, but they're still not going to be too far away from the floor. In terms of distance on the XY, they're always going to be on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a component here, and I'm going to add audio. And I want to make the floor an audio source because it's going to be the source of the music. All I need to do now is just drag this clip into this little box here. Now, a couple of things I need to make sure. First of all, play on awake needs to be checked here. That means that as soon as I stop playing the game, the music will stop playing. Secondly, I need to check loop. If I don't check loop, then it will play the music through once, and the music I can see is 2 minutes and 59 seconds long. It'll play the music through once, and then it just won't play it again. So go back to my playing, check my audio source. I've got play and awake, I've got loop. Let's crank up the volume and see if this works. Ooh. Now we've really got some atmosphere, haven't we? What's going on? Oh, my fire's gone out. So I'm going to turn the music down here because I've just spotted an error that I'd quite like to fix. You'll notice that after a little while, the fire in my scene, both of the fires in my scene, die out, even though I've got looping checked. I found a fix for that, and I'm going to help you fix that in yours as well. So here's the issue. If I go to Fire Mobile, you'll see one of the things that's on it is called a Particle System Destroyer script. If you remove that script, remove component, and I'm going to do this on both of my fires, if you remove that component, it should solve the problem. And if I play my game now, the fire should keep burning long into the night. So one of the things that you might want to do now is use the same flickering light script. I took it off for this tutorial. Use the same flickering light script on the point light around the fire so that it really looks like it's flickering in time with the fire moving up and down. So I'm going to duplicate this script. So it's called Light Flicker Effect 1. And as soon as I've done that, I've changed the name of it. I just need to go into the script here and just change the name to Light Flicker Effect 1 and just resave that. Otherwise, you get this error down here that it doesn't know where the script is. Go into the console, you see that error's gone already. It's disappeared from the bottom because I've just renamed it Light Flicker 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that Light Flicker 1 on this point light here. Drag it onto the point light here and have a quick look in the inspector, and you can see there it is. I need to tell it that this is the point light I want to use. And I'm going to set the maximum intensity to maybe 4, and I'm going to bring the smoothing up to, let's see what a smoothing of 20 does. Let's just bring the player over here as well so that they can see this from the off. Move the player in on the scene so that they can really get the full effect of what's going on here. And let's listen to the music. And there we go. So a greater smoothing gives you more variation in the flickering. And now that light, I'm just going to turn the sound down here so I'm not shouting over it. And now that light really that fire really looks like it is flickering up and down. I'm going to do the same thing to the other fire as well. And then we're going to see what the scene looks like. And change the intensity, this one to 5. And make that 15. So obviously you'll notice each individual point light has its own instance of the script on it. The main reason for duplicating it is so I know which script I'm going to apply to the street lights and which script I'm going to apply to the other point lights. You can just use the same script, but I just like to keep things slightly neater so I know what's going on like that. Let's have a look at our 2 flickering lights. Very nice. Very nice indeed. The aim of these tutorials was to get you into Unity without using any coding. But of course, in order to get anything working in Unity, you are going to need to code or script a little bit. But I'm going to do the heavy lifting here. I'm going to give you the scripts. If you're one of my students, you can download all the scripts you're going to need from the SharePoint. If you're not one of my students, at the end of each video where we use a script, I'll show you what the script looks like on the screen so you can replicate it yourself, attach it, and as always, if you have any problems with the scripts, do please get in touch in the comments section. As always, thanks for listening. I've been Dr. H, and I hope you've enjoyed the first half of this batch of Unity 10-minute tutorials.